Formula 500 racer in the past, former Speedway sidecar passenger turned rider, responsible for so many things like the Sidecar Grand Slam name, and I could go on forever. Dave Parker, how you going tonight, mate?
Yeah, good, Dave. Yourself?
Oh, I'm talking to you, so it's pretty good, actually.
Yeah, no, it's pretty good. You're doing a good job what you're doing, mate, keeping the stuff out there for Speedway. Well done. Good on you, mate.
First question, well, tell me the deal with this land speed record thing.
Well, it started off that Steve Johnson, who used to ride Speedway and is actually having another crack over at Pinjar at the moment. You know, he's been very good friends of mine for many, many years. When the boys used to come over from WA to race, he used to stay at my place. And, you know, Jono's just one of the cards. You know, we don't see that many people like that in Speedway anymore, but he was just a card. He was a brilliant rider and that. And he used to ride long track. He was actually the European long track champion before they went FIM World Championship, I think it is. I've got a bike that Simon Wigg rode, and he was very good friends with Simon Wigg. And the bike that I've restored is what Simon won the 1994 World Championship on long track. I bought it actually for Lee Adams, and Jono actually rode it at the Aussie titles when Lee rode my other bike and got second. So Lee won and Jono got second. And out of the blue about a year and a half ago, he said, "Oh, why don't we have a crack at long track?" You know, because we've sort of everyone's grown apart. We still talk to each other on the phone and that, but where we were seeing each other, you know, 4 or 5 times a year, we don't see the Steve Johnsons and Lee Redmond and Timmy Osmond and Lee Adams. Well, I see Lee a fair bit, but let's try to all get together. And how are we going to do it? Let's ride the bloody bike somewhere. So we decided to. He wanted to ride the Wig bike, but last time he rode it, he crashed it and still got second after a restart. But we did it all up, and obviously we had Lee Adams's good bike, or my bike, but the one Lee rode. So I said, well, don't worry about the Wig bike. Let's get on to the, Lee's bike, which basically are exactly the same. And let's do a long track. Well, all the long tracks got cancelled because of COVID and everything like that. And I was lucky enough with all the David Tapp series to meet a lot of international riders as well. And Billy Hamill actually had a crack at the world land speed record on a long tracker, similar to what I've got. We've got Lake Gardner in South Australia here, so if we can't do long track, let's have a crack at the land speed record, and that's how it come about. But man, I tell you what, they've got some rules and regulations, and if anyone's thinking about doing it, start 6 months at least in advance, because you got to run brakes, and like I'm saying, what the hell are they? And there's a lot of things you've got to do to the bike. So Jono was as keen as mustard, and it was going to cost a lot of money. And I was lucky with sponsors at Gilman over the years, and we got a few sponsors that actually put their hand up and come forward and said, "Hey, look, great idea. Let's have a crack at this thing, and we'll all get up to Lake Gardner and we'll have a party there." But as people have seen on the TV over the last few days, the centre of Australia is underwater. So I think we might be taking my Sea-Doo up there instead of the long track bike. So I think they'll end up cancelling it, but we'll just see what happens. But yeah, so that's how the land speed record gig started up. And Timmy Osmond, who used to do all Lee Adams's motors in Australia and did a lot of other motors as well, he sort of stepped out of doing Speedway stuff, and long track was his little baby, the same as mine. And I said, "Hey, what do you reckon we build one of these up, Tim?" And he goes, "Yeah, bring one down." So we brought it down, and it started from there. And look, he's been, he's a pedantic bugger to bloody work with, because he's, where I'm as rough as guts, he's exactly the opposite, and I'll put a mudguard washer in there, and he'll spend an hour on a bloody mill making a aluminium washer that's got a bloody tapered, countersunk head and all stuff like that. And he's got his little own zinc plating bath. And so he's basically built the bike up, and we've got brakes on it and all sorts of gear. So, yeah, it's been a big job. And it was quite good, because Glenn O'Brien, who I sponsored for many years with tyres and everything like that, he goes, "Oh, that's a bloody great idea. Let's do that." So he ended up buying the tyres, and Lee Redmond, who again used to ride, he's always helped us out and was coming over. So we were going to have a bloody good reunion, but rain stuffed us around a bit. So we're concentrating on Oceania more so after the next couple of weeks. There's a long track over at Oceania, so we're going to give that a crack.
You mentioned quite a few people in the background of that I've actually got to meet a few of them through doing this. That's pretty much how this came about tonight.
Oh, look, I've been super, super fortunate, my whole life. The friends that I've met, when we first started riding Speedway, we were lucky enough. Kim McConnell's uncle was Len Bowes, who was one of the best sidecar riders in Australia of that era. He was in the Suzuki Cornwall race team when we all used to run water bottles, and we were lucky enough. And look, Kim had the talent to do it as well. It's not, it was never a gimme. And we were lucky enough to be a part of the Suzuki Cornwall race team. And we went to places like the Sydney Showgrounds and Brooklyn in Melbourne and Claremont and all those places. And, I met a lot of friends, your Doug Robsons and guys like that, and Con Mauger, we have barbecues at Con Mauger's place. And of course, when we're riding at these places, you've got people like Ivan Mauger there in those days. And I become good friends with Ivan and Ray, and I'm still in contact with Ray to this day, and Ivan's son Kim. So I've been pretty blessed with the people that I've met, and then later on in my career, obviously with Lee and the solo guys, and going overseas, and met a lot of really nice people overseas, and Greg Hancock, Billy Hamill, and the list goes on. Tony Rickardson, and they're all guys that I'm still in contact with today. Over Facebook. You're not ringing them up in their pocket every 2 seconds, but you send them a hello every now and again. And then later on, obviously with Gilman, your Trelaws and your O'Briens and your Cleaves and your Playsteads, and the list goes on. I couldn't change my life really if I tried it, because I've met some really, really lovely people in Speedway, and friends to this day. It's great.
It was no secret that I did one of these the other night with a Kiwi guy, and he said he still misses the tracks that you used to put on at Gilman. So you are someone that is very highly regarded, which is great. Also, especially in sidecars, we were talking about you last Saturday down in Brisbane. It's all positive, which is a great thing.
I really run Speedway like it was my own. And people say, "Oh, you think it's your own?" Well, yeah, I did. I treated it like it was my own. I say I wasn't a smart man. I used to sell motorcycle tyres for a living. That was my job. I knew nothing about grading tracks. I knew nothing about promoting Speedway. I knew nothing about, what does a sidecar need, what does a solo need for a track. And of course, I used to do the track at Gilman as well. So not only did I promote the meetings there, being the Speedway manager, along with the club, it's not one-sided at all. I also did the track. And what I did is I used to sit back, and when I went overseas, I'd look at the track and see how they prepared them overseas. And there's a few people like Charlie Hutchinson, who used to do Mildura. I was on the phone to him, nagging the hell out of him. What do you do here? What do you do there? What do they want? Poor old Don Marker, who was a really good friend of mine, who's passed away now. He taught me a hell of a lot when we started, because he used to do North Arm and sort of handed the reins over to me and become just like the venue manager. What are we going to do here? It's underwater. He goes, "Oh, you can do it. You can do it. This is what you do. This is what you do." And, I was never ever too scared, even as promoting events. I was never ever too scared to ask. I knew nothing. The day I was at Gilman, I was learning every day. And the same as promoting. I was very, very lucky that I had people that I could call on. Wendy Turner, who used to run Speedway City, one of the smartest people in straight. David Tapp, the name speaks for itself. Con Mauger, who ran, Claremont Speedway, still in contact with him to this day. And Ivan Mauger, who used to run meetings, I'd ring him up, and we used to have a laugh, me and Ivan. It was always funny and everything like that. And I got heaps of stories about him and me, and they're really funny, some of them. But I was never ever too scared to ask people what the hell do we do here, because I didn't know, and Lenny Bowes, when I first took on the reins basically at North Arm, Lenny Bowes rang me up one day, and I could still, as clear as a bell today. He rang me up and he goes, "Are you at work, Davey?" And I went, "Yep." He said, "I'm coming round for a coffee." And anyhow, he came around with coffee, and we had a big rubbish bin out the front, you know, those industrial ones that the trucks pick up. And I remember he had a coffee cup on one side and I had a coffee cup on the other, and we're outside chatting away. And he reckons, "Well, I hear you're taking on North Arm." And I said, "Well, yeah," because they had a lot of unrest there and everyone walked out and, you know, was going nowhere. And he said, "Well," and I won't use the exact words we used, he said, but basically he said, "All I can say is you're an idiot, but if anyone can do it, you can. Whatever you do it your way and listen to the right people." And that was it. And I kept that. And as I said, there was a few expletives in there. And I basically took that on all the way through. You know, I'd always listen to people. When you are a promoter, you're obviously getting it from club members. When you're doing tracks, you're getting it from, you know, the guy that comes third and fourth thinks the track's shit. The guy that wins reckons it's the best track he's ever ridden. So you used to know. You knew what was good and what was bad. And I could tell you after heat 4, if whatever heat 4 was, whether it was a sidecar night or a solo night, after heat 4, I could tell you what the final was going to be like, whether it was going to be a shit track, a slick track, a drivey track, or how the hell we're going to fix this crap. Because I did so many laps of Gilman with Sean and, you know, other people that used to help me out with the water cart, and, you know, they had to double think me. Why isn't he out on the bloody water cart? I look over and he's coming out the pit gate. So Sean was very, very good, and that's who's doing it now. We had to fix up some really bad tracks, you know, and I think that's also where I got a bit of respect from some of the riders. It might be pissing now. Mate, I had the fire brigade at Gilman at 4 o'clock in the morning pumping water out. And the SA Fire Department didn't know nothing about it. The Bobcat with an auger on it and drill a bloody hole just on the infield, and they had their fire trucks pumping water off the track, and the thing was underwater. You know, I've had people turn up of a Saturday and go, "Holy hell, you know, what are you going to do here?" You know, in all the years we ran there, we had about 2 rain-offs, and I'm talking about at the summertime. We had about 2 rain-offs. Because we did so many laps around there. Look, other track preparers are no different. You know, people say, how come you can do that? You know, and normally, you know, you wouldn't be riding on it. And I used to pick up a piece of sand or a grain of dolomite, and I'll say, see that little piece of sand there? That piece there? Yeah, his name's Brian. And really, if you knew every grain of sand out there by their first name, you could pull off miracles. And I had a great bunch behind me. I had a great bunch of people that could think with me. There wasn't too many nights that we had to pull the pin because the tracks were shit. And look, the riders were brilliant as well. You know, like me and I made some shit tracks like you wouldn't believe. But the riders, very rarely, as a general rule, the riders knew that we were all trying our best. You know, they'd all get together and they'd say, "Hey, look at the people on the hill. They've all come to watch us. Let's not do anything stupid," you know, because it's been pissing down. And I can tell you a story about when I ripped the track when we were down at Mount Gambier, and I thought I'd rip the track before I came back. Went down to a Grand Slam at Mount Gambier and it pissed down that night. So I had a track that was ripped up, full of water, turned the pig into crayfish and made the top look good, and told the riders, "Hey guys, this is going to be shit." And, you know, your Trelaws and your Andrew Buchanans and your Playsteads and the list goes on. They all knew that it was going to be shit. They went out and put on a show, and, you know, because they knew how hard we all worked. You know, all the riders got together and said, "Hey, look, let's not do anything stupid like darting under somebody and stuff like that." I had a really good rapport with the riders. You know, I got on really, really well with the riders. Wouldn't knock it for quids. And it's a prick of a job. If anyone's ever been out there in 42-degree heat trying to do a track, you know, Campo and guys like that, man, don't take the piss, mate, because those guys have probably been out there from 2 o'clock in the morning watering the track and getting it all ready, and by 5 o'clock in the afternoon when you come in the gate and say this track looks shit, few of my words haven't been real good, you know, like, you know, I enjoyed it, and it was a challenge because it doesn't matter what you did to a track. You could have a 2-night meeting and, like, let's say an Aussie solo title or an Aussie sidecar title qualifying meeting. You could do exactly the same on the the Saturday night as you did the Friday night, and the track's entirely different. But as I said, after 4, I could turn around and say, finals are going to be slick as shit, or it's going to be, this is going to be better than last night. Riders that go and have a go at referees, that's a hard gig too, and it's no different to track preparers. Everyone's human, everyone makes mistakes, and no one can do the right job all the time. But I've never ever seen a track preparer or a referee, in fact, come into the pits and say, Darren Trelaw, you're a cock, you missed the start, you went out wide in turn 3, you're a fool, you're an idiot, you shouldn't be riding or anything like that, because he had one bad race. But the riders think it's their God-given right to have a go at track preparers or referees and things like that for making a mistake. Now, bear in mind, some of the referee decisions haven't been too flash over the last, 20 years either, but I've been a referee and it is a hard job. Don't knock the referees, don't knock the track. I always said to riders, in all the years that I raced, I only ever got excluded twice in all the years that I raced sidecars. But I always tell them that I could have got excluded about 12 times, but I got away with it and I only got excluded twice. Just because they get excluded, think of all the times that they rolled at the start, had 2 wheels off on the corner, maybe gave someone a nudge where they shouldn't have given them a nudge, put someone else offline and got away with it. So, it all swings in merry-go-rounds, but that's Speedway. That's why I love it. That's why it's so good. It's different all the time.
I got warned about this before we started, that you're probably going to outdo me for a chat, and so far you have, and that's not easy to do because I'm a Speedway nerd and I love talking. You did unpack a lot of things. Where I am, North Brisbane's an hour down the road, so Wayne Kennedy does the track. He's done it for years. Exactly what you're saying. He'll be out there way early, the day before the whole lot. There was an incident the other week where the track broke up the tiniest bit. They fixed it. The real pro riders, it didn't bother them. Some did, some didn't, but it's a thankless job. Now, with race referees, I'm 37 soon. I've watched Speedway religiously all my life, and I've never seen a race referee reverse a decision. I would bet $1,000 to the next person that disputes a decision that they are better off going to the canteen and getting a cold drink and starting again.
The worst part about it is, for a start, everyone's got a camera on their phone these days. When you're a referee, you're looking at 4 people, and there's Dave Parker at the back there, Dave McLean up the front there, and you've got Bob Smith there and Joe the Goose over there. And you've got to keep an eye on 4 riders, but your team are only looking at you. That's all. He's got to look at everyone. It's the same as the start. When you're at the start, you're in the starting box, as a general rule, a starter cannot see 4 riders. You can only ever see 3, because you're looking down like this, and you're looking either at 4, 3, 2 and miss 1, or you're looking at 1, 2, 3 and miss 4. And what a lot of the mistakes the referees make, usually because you're a 4, theoretically the worst gate, or 3 is really, but you're always trying to get a really good start off of 4. And a lot of the time, that's where the rollers come. So, look, Justin Playstead was perfect. He was a brilliant starter. He was too quick. And all the times that he was off of, and I'll tell you another one was Mark Drew. They were so quick at the tapes that they beat the referee. And I'd sit there and go, for Christ's sake, like the tapes moved and they moved at the same time. They were just too quick for the starters. And a lot of the time they got brought back because, there was once there with Drewy, he was off of 4. I was on the infield right near the start line, and he got a perfect start and they stopped the race, and it was an Aussie title. And, he shouldn't have got stopped. But the thing is that he got that good a gate, the referee thought, oh, he must be rolling. but you cannot physically watch 4 riders when you're a referee at the start. You can watch 3, you can't watch 4. One's just out of your vision, sort of thing. So referees make mistakes. Riders make mistakes. And as I said, I've never seen a referee come down the box and abuse the shit out of Darren Treloar or Andrew Buchanan or someone like that because they went wide in turn 4 and let someone go underneath them. But it's a rider's God-given right, and their mechanics and the fans and all this sort of stuff, to abuse the shit out of a referee because he's friggin' hopeless, you know? I suppose that's the way it is. And we've been through all the, let's have, cameras and things like that. Man, everyone that comes 3rd or 4th is going to put in a protest and, I think he cut me off or he took me front wheel out. So then it holds the proceedings up. The people in the crowd, you're not putting on entertainment and Speedway. And this is the problem with a lot of Speedways these days. It's not entertaining. It's just a race meeting. And, it draws out and goes on to bloody, 11:30 at night, and the kids are getting shitty and stuff like that. So if you have all these action replays and stuff like that and riders wanting to do it, I said to them, I'm all for it. We'll buy all the cameras and that, but it's going to cost you $500 to protest. And if you're wrong, we keep you $500. And no one wanted to do it because as a general rule, the ones that are complaining, they're only complaining because they got 3rd or 4th or they got beaten. But again, as I said, referees have made some horrible decisions over the few years in Aussie titles, solo and sidecar. They're human. I don't think there's a referee personally that's got a personal vendetta, rather, against another rider to put them out of the title. I think it's just the way it goes. As I said, I got disqualified twice, which I bloody deserve to be as well. But I reckon I got away with another 12. That's life. Suck it up. As you said, go to the canteen.
The one that had the best advice about that was actually Glenn O'Brien. He said that in his career, he, has been way beyond fast and all this sort of thing at titles and never dropped a point. And then the bad luck happened. So he said, as much as, Speedway's exciting and you can spend the money, especially nowadays, you can, in my state, you can go to Bernie Coppy and buy a beautiful bike, but that doesn't guarantee an Australian title final. So it is a big game of your luck. And you are right, the track changes every lap. So I think that's the draw card for all of us for Speedway.
Look, and what you're saying about buying bikes is true. When me and Tappy were doing that, the Grand Slam between us, and we actually how it come about was I used to get Tappy over to do the Australian sidecar or solo title as the announcer, because you needed to put a show on. You needed a ringmaster. You need somebody that could get them going. And look, fair play to our announcers we had at Gilman. They used to do, still do stuff on the night. But Tappy was a bit like Wayne Ornger with the cars. David Tapp could tell you what a rider had for breakfast 3.5 weeks ago, whether it was sun shining, whether it was raining or whatever. The guy's got a memory like a bloody, like a computer. And anyhow, he was doing the Aussie sidecar title at Gilman one year. And I walked through the centre and I won't tell you the exact words we used. I said, geez, that was pretty good, Tappy. How'd you like to take this around Australia? Because obviously we took the solos around Australia. And he goes, it'd be great. And that's where it finished. Didn't finish, the conversation finished there, rather. And then the next morning he was sitting at the airport and he goes, Dave-o, and I went, here we go. He goes, what you said last night, and I couldn't remember what he said. And he said, why don't we take it around Australia? We took it everywhere from Townsville to bloody Timbuktu. And we took the best riders in Australia and New Zealand, all around Australia, and again, Mount Gambier, Murray Bridge, places where they don't normally have bikes, Renmark, Alice Springs, the list goes on and on and on where we took riders. And if it was a clay track, and, we'd put dolomite down, and which we did at Murray Bridge or Sand, Murray Bridge and Mount Gambier, so it was a half decent track, and those tracks had a lot of banking, so it was good. And bear in mind, there was a few tracks that turned to shit, which, the riders sort of sucked it in and rode. There was never a stage where the riders said, "Oh, this is totally crap, we're not going to ride." They turned around and said, "Well, we haven't been to this track before, and the track's shit. We've just got to be careful and smart what we do." And we had seated riders that we had in the meeting, and then we had the locals, which you can't throw somebody away that is a local. And even though that you could have got far better riders, we tried as a general rule to include riders from that track as well, where we could have got better riders. And you still got Ken, because we missed Dave Parker out because he beat Darren Trelaw once back in 1806, but he forgot to tell us that Darren had a flat tire, so. But we made a lot of friends, but we made very, very, very few enemies, if you know what I mean. And it was good. I enjoyed it. Tappy enjoyed it. And, I'd like to see something like that happen again. But you need somebody that, is really passionate about it, that wants to do it. And it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work dealing with the venues. Yeah, it could be done, but, it'd be pretty hard to do.